Hey guys, welcome to our weekly news show here at Backstage with Millionaires. I'm Caleb, your host, and let's just jump right into it this week because things are not looking good in India's crypto space. There's been a 60% decline in trading volume on Indian crypto exchanges in the second week of April. That's the 7th to the 14th of April. Now, as many of you already know, there are some new tax rules for cryptocurrency in India, and these tax rules came into effect on April 1st. According to these rules, any income generated from the transfer or sale of virtual assets will be taxed at a rate of 30%. But at the same time, the losses from the sale or transfer of these assets won't be counted against the gains. So as an example here, if you saw a gain of 100 rupees on a crypto investment that you made, but at the same time, on another investment, you saw a loss of 50 rupees, you would still need to pay tax on that 100 rupees. Whereas, for example, with stocks, if we're talking about long-term capital gains, you would actually only have to pay tax on 50 rupees because the 50 rupee loss would be counted against the 100 rupee gain. And so the total amount that you would have to pay tax on is just 50 rupees. And the situation has only gotten worse with UPI as a mode of payment being disabled by the National Payments Corporation of India. And following this, many banks have also stopped providing their services for crypto trades. Now, according to Nishal Shetty, one of the co-founders of WazirX, currently there's been reluctance from the banking industry to provide crypto exchanges with channels to deposit funds. Under such unfavorable circumstances, we will see more and more startups in crypto and Web3 move abroad. We must stop this brain drain by bringing in more conducive and concrete policies that will help us make in India. But anyways, let's move on to something new now, something a little bit more positive, because by 2026, the cumulative revenue of India's entire SaaS industry is estimated to eventually cross $100 billion, according to a report from Chirate Ventures and Zenov. According to the report, VC investment into Indian SaaS stood at $4.2 billion in 2021 and could increase by 55% this year in 2022 to reach $6.5 billion. So these are really exciting times for Indian SaaS. And of course, 2021 was a watershed year for India's SaaS ecosystem. We saw the meteoric rise of startups like Postman, Zoho, Incertis, and Dhruva, and also Freshworks' IPO, which made more than 500 Indians crorpatis. And then on the global stage, India actually recently surpassed the United Kingdom in terms of the number of SaaS unicorns that it has. And it's also gearing up to surpass China soon to become the second largest SaaS nation by 2026. All right, next up in the news, it looks like the instant grocery delivery category just isn't enough for Zepto. And now they're gonna be dipping their toes in instant food delivery as well with Zepto Cafe. The company is tied up with restaurants and cafes like Guru Kripa Snacks, Sassy Teaspoon, Blue Tokai, and Chayos to offer what they're calling break time essentials. With Zepto Cafe, they're going to be delivering things like tea, croissants, samosa, and coffee in 10 minutes. Now, commenting on this new business line, Adit Palicha, one of the co-founders of Zepto, told Money Control that we launched this pilot a few weeks ago, and we've already seen an incredible response from customers. We're going to continue tweaking the model for quite some time so we can perfect the customer experience and unit economics before scaling. Now, one thing to note here is that Zepto isn't seeing this as an entry into the food delivery space. These are ready-to-eat items that are more akin to grocery items than they are to the kinds of food items that would be delivered by a platform like, for example, Zomato or Swiggy. However, this does seem like a natural and easy stepping stone for Zepto. If it goes well, if Zepto Cafe succeeds, then they can move further into the food delivery space. And if it doesn't, then they can fall back on their grocery delivery and say that we never really moved in that direction in the first place. It was just ready to eat. So this, to me, seems like they're hedging their bets, but I'll let you guys decide. Leave a comment down below and let me know if you think that Zepto is going to continue to move in the food delivery space, or if you think this is probably just an extension of their online grocery delivery service. All right, next up in the news, after several electric scooters in the last couple of weeks across India have caught fire, the government of India has announced that they're going to be coming out with a battery policy. And this is going to standardize and guarantee the quality of batteries in electric vehicles across India moving forward. This policy is expected to cover performance testing and manufacturing standards for these batteries, along with their heat resistance capabilities. A senior government official told the Economic Times that the fires are a matter of concern. We have informally started directing EV manufacturers to improve on their existing vehicles. For now, we want them to voluntarily fix the shortcomings in their vehicles. Now, there has been a lot of public discourse lately on the reason for these electric scooter fires. Some people are saying that it's the rising temperatures across India that are causing this. Other people are saying it's cheap batteries, and other people are saying that it's corner cutting in terms of testing methods and actually putting these batteries together, packing them up. And specifically commenting on this last point, the packaging of the batteries, Akash Gupta, who is one of the co-founders and the CEO of Zip Electric, said that packaging of the battery pack is vital. If the battery is not packed correctly or carelessly or with substandard materials, it will lead to a short circuit, as in any electronic appliance, leading to a fire. All right, moving on to some funding news now. Crypto exchange CoinDCX has raised $135 million in a funding round led by Pantera Capital and Steadview Capital at a $2.15 billion valuation. The company is going to be using these funds to increase its workforce from 400 employees to 1,000 employees by the end of next year. They're planning on hiring across roles like engineering, product, and compliance. According to the startup's CEO, Sumit Gupta, the company is also going to be investing in education and building an innovation center to develop products in the Web3 space. All right, next up in the funding news, cricket NFT platform Rario has raised $120 million in a funding round led by Dream Capital, which is the investment arm of Dream 11. So Rario enables cricket fans to engage with and own pieces of cricket history through digital collectibles like playing cards, video moments, and cricket artifacts. This investment is going to provide Rario with access to the 140 million users that Dream 11 has on its platform. All right, next up in the funding news, health insurance distribution platform Loop Health has raised $25 million in a funding round led by Elevation Capital and General Catalyst at a between $120 and $150 million valuation. So Loop Health provides group health insurance plans from prominent insurers to companies, ranging from startups to corporates. According to the startup, they have more than 200 companies as customers that represent 80,000 total members. Loop Health is aiming to cover over 1 million members by the end of 2022 and 5 million members across Southeast Asia over the next 5 years. All right, next up in the funding news, SaaS restaurant management platform Urbanpiper has raised $24 million in a funding round led by Tiger Global, Sequoia Capital, Swiggy, and Zomato. Urbanpiper is currently being used across 27,000 restaurants in 8 countries, and they're looking to expand that number to over 200,000 restaurants. They're going to be using these funds to enhance their platform's capabilities by scaling their product and engineering teams. And also, just a little piece of trivia here, this is the first time that Swiggy and Zomato are participating in the same funding round for the same Indian startup. All right, next up in the funding news, I'm just going to quickly break down where funds were invested across India's entire startup ecosystem, sort of a bird's eye perspective. So first of all, more than 17 Indian startups raised $1 million or more this week, and the total amount of funds that were raised in India's startup ecosystem was $478 million. So first of all, we had $135 million being invested into the crypto space, and of course that was all exclusively invested into CoinDCX. Then we've got the Web3 and NFT space raising $120 million. Of course, again, all being invested into one startup, Rario. But then in the SaaS space, we had $83.8 million being invested into a couple of different startups, the most noteworthy being Videoverse and Urbanpiper. Then we've got the EdTech space raising $35 million, the FinTech space raising $34 million, the health tech space, $25 million, and the EV space, $10 million. So that was just a breakdown, like I said earlier, a bit of a bird's eye perspective on what's going on in India's startup ecosystem with regards to funding. But if you want a more in-depth look at what's going on, then make sure to sign up with our newsletter where we talk about all of the funding rounds that happened above $1 million in India in the last week. You can find the link to that in our pinned comment as well as in our Twitter bio. The newsletter is set up through a tool on Twitter, so you can get that sent to you on Twitter, or you can get it sent to you in your normal email inbox, the way that most newsletters would be sent out. Either way though, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Backstage with Millionaires, and big thanks too to all of our Backstage with Millionaires members, our unicorns, our decacorns, and our hectacorns. And of course, big thanks to you as well for watching this video through to the end. All right, I will see you in the next one.